Welcome to Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. RC. Dr. RC will empower, encourage, and strengthen you. She will help you to soar to your highest potential while instilling hope. Please welcome the host of Dare to Soar, Dr. RC.
Good Saturday morning, Eagle family. Oh, I'm so excited to be here with you as I am every Saturday that I'm joined with each and every one of you from across the globe. This morning, I want to just touch base and dive into a topic or subject that's very critical and important to all of us. My topic of discussion for this morning is invisible chains, global impact, breaking barriers to mental wellness through social work. And as you all know, I am a social worker. So it is so much of a heartfelt conversation that I'll be diving into for this morning. Not that I'm a little biased, as you can tell as we get started. Yes, this is Dare to Soar, and I am Dr. RC, your host. So I don't want to belabor it. As I welcome you this morning to Dare to Soar, I am so grateful you chose to spend your time with me today. Whether you are tuning in from your car, your kitchen table, or if you're doing some after school work in your classroom, or, thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. And each and every one of you, as I always like to say from across the globe. I want you to know that this space was created specifically for you. As I continue on, and I want to dive right into the information, as you can see, this is just, it's a solo show this morning. It's me. So it's going to be intimate, but powerful and meaningful. Today, we're taking flight into a conversation that is deeply personal and profoundly global, and is urgently needed. As I stated, invisible chains, global impact, breaking barriers to mental wellness through social work. Now, why is this theme so important? Or you may say, well, Dr. RC, why this theme? I'm so glad I can see those antennas going virtually uh, from across the globe, because across every content, and I do mean every content, in every culture, people are bound by invisible chains. And I know that some of you may have experienced that, or you can have an understanding for that. And my hope is that by the end of this conversation, you'll have a deeper understanding of that as well. Chains of stigma, silence, inequity as well, and fear that prevent them from receiving mental wellness support that is truly deserved and very much so needed. And these chains just don't affect individuals. They affect ripples into the family as well. They affect schools, they affect workplaces and entire communities, I will add. As I continue on, I want to jump off by sharing just a bit of a personal story with you, if I may. So, you see, not too long ago, I met a young student who carried invisible chains every single day, every day. Outwardly, they smiled, appeared to be happy, they put on a good face, and showed up to class like everyone else. But privately, they were carrying the weight of anxiety, depression that no one else could see. What struck me, honestly, was their struggle, but their silence as well. You see, they believed that asking for help would make them look weak. And how often have we heard that from our children? And that belief is not unique. It is not something that's unique. It's a story that it repeats itself across cities, countries, and cultures. It truly does. It's invisible struggles that too far and too many of us can relate to. Now, whether you can relate to it personally or through someone you love, I know that you'll have an understanding of it. I want to share this quote with you that will ground us as we continue and move forward within this hour. You see, as the World Health Organization reminds us, there is no health without mental health. Did you get that, guys? Eagles, let me say that again. There is no health without mental health. You see, these words carry power. And I want you to let those simmer and marinate with you for a moment. They remind us that wellness isn't complete until we include the mind, the heart, and the spirit. Did you get that? until we, and I'm saying we because we're all in this together collectively, we include the mind, the heart, and the spirit. I want to invite you to engage in something also. So today, my invitation is this. I want you to lean in with me. Let's break the silence together. Let's shine the light on the barriers and let's explore how social work, this powerful profession rooted in advocacy, equity, and hope, is truly helping communities across the globe. I want to unlock freedom, resilience, and healing this morning. That's what my plan is during this time. Now, I want to keep on diving in, but let me just take a break here. Grab a friend, pick up the phone, text them, but make sure also that you're relaxed in this moment by getting that favorite cup of coffee, tea, or if it's that cool or warm cup of water or bottled water. Personally, I like my water cold, but that's not everybody's, niche. Everyone has the way that they like to do things. And if you're riding in your car, turn up the volume because I can promise you this information that I'm going to be sharing with you is something that you would not want to miss. So, like I said, grab a friend. Remember to tune in, like, subscribe, and share also this message that I'm going to be providing this morning. So, as we continue to open up and dive into the dialogue of this conversation, now that we've kind of set the stage, or I've kind of set the stage for you, I want to zoom out together to look at the bigger picture of what I'm going to be talking about, the global reality of mental wellness. That's what I want to dive into. I want to get into some research, but guys, I'm getting the signal. It is a commercial break, and I don't want to give it to you until I return from this commercial. I am Dr. RC, and yes, this is Dare to Soar, and we will be right back after this commercial break.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Welcome back, Eagle family. And once again, good Saturday morning for those of you who are just tuning in. Yes, I'm here on YouTube Live, but also additional platforms where you can tune into like Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. But I want to continue on with my conversation with you this morning. Just to give you that topic of discussion again is invisible chains, global impact, breaking barriers to mental wellness through social work. Right before the break, I was getting ready to dive into, I was preparing to dive into some research information. You guys know I love to give you that research information because if nothing else, these are things that I share that you can go back and actually find out or identify for yourselves as well. And that's what it's all about. So as I dive into that, the research that I'm going to share It is my hope and prayer that it will ground you in some facts because this is factual information that I am about to share. According to the World Health Organization, as of 2023, one in every eight people worldwide with mental health has a mental health disorder. I want you to just think about that for a moment. One in every eight. Now, as you think about that, if you look around your space, meaning if you were with your colleagues, your friends, your classmates, or family members, chances are that someone in that space silently is struggling. Silently. Because remember, I just shared a little story with you prior to a little bit before the commercial break. They are silently struggling. Depression is now the leading cause of disability across the globe. Depression is. It impacts people's ability to work, to learn, to parent, and even to dream. Imagine that. Hold that. I want you to sit on that for just a quick little second. To work, to learn, to parent, or even dream. That means that you're not getting the rest that you need when I'm speaking about the dream part that you need at night. And here's one of the most sobering truths. Suicide has become the fourth leading cause of death among young people between the ages of 15 and 29. Now, I'm giving you this, these are statistical data from 2023, but I am sure that if we had up to date for 2025, these numbers would change, meaning that the number of when it comes to the age from 15 to 29. And I can tell you that from my own experience from doing the work that I do and taking notice of what is actually happening. Now that means that our youth, the very generation who are coming on to lead us forward. That is the impact that this has. And being lost is silent before they can even get a chance to soar. Before they can even get a chance to soar, spread their wings. Now, here are some key barriers across the globe. So, what's holding us back? What are the invisible chains, you might ask, that keep people from thinking or keep people from moving forward as they carry or as they care and be have the dignity they deserve? What's holding them back from getting to that point? First, stigma. We hear about this all the time. There is a stigma. There's no discussion when things like this happen, when mental health is brought up or the topic is brought up, it's almost like some want to shun away from it or have fear that they're going to be judged, as I shared with you earlier. In too many cultures, talking about mental wellness is or mental health is a taboo. People fear it. They fear being judged, misunderstood, or labeled as weak. Secondly, lack of funding. Can we talk about that? That's probably a whole nother show, I'm sure, that we could delve into. You see, many governments spend less than 2% on their healthcare budget on mental health. Compare that to the billions spent on other areas, and you can keep seeing this gap over and over again, or you can visibly see it over and over again. And I know your brains are twirling right now, because you can think right now about what's happening and how dollars are being disseminated. Thirdly, shortage of professionals. In high income countries, you may find 30 or more mental health professionals per 100,000 people. That's astonishing. But in many low income countries, that number drops. Get this, Eagles, that number drops to fewer than one. One professional for thousands who need help is simply just not enough. The reality or a relatable, I want to give you that, making it a human connection. Let me put some faces and stories to these numbers that I've just shared with you. In Ghana, a child struggles with untreated depression because their family just cannot afford the journey to the nearest clinic that may be hours away. In Atlanta, I'll give you that example, which is closer to home. A teenager skips school. Why? Because he or she is overwhelmingly having an anxiety attack or feeling emotion, but fears speaking up. So they go through this silently, alone, thinking their friends will call on them. They begin to withdraw, dramatic or weak. In Ukraine, going a little further out again, a young refugee carries the trauma of war and displacement. Yet there are not enough trained professionals to meet the need for healing. You see, different continents, different circumstances, but the same invisible chains: lack of access, lack of dignity, lack of hope. And that's why it's time to spotlight and sound the alarm on this subject as I'm doing today. There are, these are not isolated incidents or isolated stories. They truly, truly, as now I spread it out and gave you different locations just so you can get the full picture view of what is actually happening. But I want to let you know that there are threads in a larger global tapestry of struggles and resilience as well. And here's the truth. Here's the truth. Until we see mental wellness as a shared responsibility across nations and communities, we will continue to lose too many lives and too much potential. But the good news is, and I do have some good news after I've shared that information with you, change is possible. And I want you to know that change is truly possible. And it's happening. It truly, truly is. And that's where the lens of social work comes in. I'm going to hold right there. It's time for another commercial break. I'll be right back.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. You know, it feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back once again, Eagle family. I am so happy that you have returned. I hope those notebooks are filling up quite quickly as you're trying to get this information down so you can go back and take a look at it. Yes, I am Dr. RC. This is Dare to Soar. Invisible chains, global impact, breaking barriers to mental wellness through social work. Now that I have given you some information, or that we've seen or I've shown you the global picture, I want to bring this closer to the heart of what I know best. Bring it to the social work lens. Because while the changes are real or the challenges are real, so are the people on the ground, who are actually doing the work, who are daring to break those invisible chains each and every single day. You see, across the globe, social workers step in to different roles, but their mission remains the same: to connect, to advocate, and to heal. And I want to break it down in tiers because, as I just said, different roles, social workers, but I want to give you some context behind that. School social workers are truly on the front lines of education. They don't just support students, they safeguard futures. Every day, we address chronic absences by uncovering the hidden reasons why students are missing school. But whether it is transportation or challenges in the family struggles, we're identifying these things. We step in during crisis as well, whether that's a child experiencing homelessness, bullying, food insecurity, or trauma, and provide immediate interventions to protect student well-being. Beyond emergencies, we are the steady presence, ensuring classrooms are safe, nurturing spaces where learning can truly happen by building what? Trust with students, empowering families, and collaborating with teachers and administration. School social workers create the bridge between home, school, and community by how removing barriers so that every child has the opportunity to thrive. And that's key. That's important because, as we know, our children spend more time at school when you calculate a 24-hour day than at home, especially if they have after school activities that they're participating in. Next, I want to share a little bit about a community social worker who work in neighborhoods, villages, connecting families to things like housing, healthcare, and other critical resources as well. They are often the steady hand guiding individuals through some of the toughest transitions in life, whether it's escaping domestic violence, navigating poverty, or just recovering from natural disasters. That is so key. And then let's get into the clinical social workers who bring healing to the most personal level through therapy, trauma recovery, and advocacy in healthcare systems. They help individuals and families process pain, rediscover strength, and re-image a path forward, as well as reimagine a path forward as well. Global framework and all this, it fits in together like hand in glove. You see, this work is not done in isolation. It truly is not. The International Federation of Social Workers shared in 2024 a theme, shared the future for transforming change, loosely translated as good living. Good living. You see, good living is about creating collective well-being where communities thrive because every individual's needs are honored. It's a vision that aligns perfectly with the social work, with what social work represents. And I just gave you that a few moments ago, but I want to go back into it again. The dignity, the equity, and shared humanity as well, which are key elements for individuals. So whether you're in the school hallway in Atlanta, a rural village in South Africa, or a refugee settlement in East Europe, this work is critical. This work is important. Social workers show up. Social workers show up. We are the connectors, the advocates, and yes, the silent warriors, breaking down barriers that often go unseen, but impact lives in such profound ways. I want you to breathe that in as we talk about this. Breathe that in for a moment. Think about it. Reflect on the information that I have shared with you. Like I said, I know those notebooks are flipping. You're trying to get these notes, but guess what? If you're not here live with me, you can certainly catch the playback always on YouTube. But I like it when you tune in, when you like, share, and comment as well. I love that when you do that. And don't forget to subscribe. Dare to Soar. Have to throw that in there before I continue on. So, how can we break these chains? How do we continue to move forward? You see, because barriers, they have to be broken. We must break the barriers. But even as social workers give their full, their all, there are still enormous barriers, as I've shared with you, that prevent mental wellness from being fully realized. Let's break down the four. I want to break down the four to you. The bigger chains that continue to hold people back. And there are chains. That's why I wanted to title this way, Invisible Chains. These chains are holding individuals back. So, barrier one, stigma. I talked about stigma a little bit earlier. Stigma across cultures and generations. Stigma remains one of the heaviest chains, and it truly does. And I know that you can reflect on some conversations that you may have had, having dialogue or expressing concern for an individual. People avoid seeking help, not because they don't need it, it's because they fear judgment. In some cultures, mental illness is seen as a weakness, and others is treated as a family secret. The silence is costing lives, and it truly is. We must replace this. We must replace the shame with understanding and fear with compassion. Let me say that to you again. We must replace the shame with understanding, and that fear, that feeling of fear, it must be replaced with compassion. So let's go a little deeper into this. I want to go on to barrier two, equity. There's also a significant amount of equity gaps in rural communities. And I'm going to have to pause right here, guys, but I promise I'll circle back around as a little reminder when we return back from this commercial break to let you know how we're going to dive in and talk about the equity gaps. Don't go away, or go get you some more coffee, tea, or water. I'll be right back.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easysense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's easysense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Welcome back once again, Eagle family. Yes, I am Dr. RC, and you are tuned into Dare to Soar. Right before the break, I was sharing with you barriers, and the first one that I gave you, and I tiered them down. The first one that I gave you was the stigma. So I was delving into the next barrier, which is equity gaps. And with that being shared, stated there's also a significant equity gap. Let me Get that correctly because I want to deliver it in a most appropriate way. And rural communities often lack the same access to mental health services as urban centers. Wealthy nations, wealthy nations have resources and clinics, while low income countries may have none at all, zero. You see, this is an issue. It is an issue, and that's why we have to create awareness and speak about it as well. Imagine being told that you must wait 6 months or travel hundreds of miles just to talk to a trained professional. That is a harsh reality for millions. And this is something that's actually happening, that's actually going on right now. And that's where those equity gaps come in. Now, I want to dive on to the next barrier. And that next barrier is technology. You know, we live in a world of technology where everything is send, click, uh, click a tab or place an app on, all of these things. But technology has created opportunities for telehealth and digital counseling as well. But the digital divide means many still cannot access their devices. Because imagine if you're living in a rural area, you may not have access to technology at your fingertips like that. There may have to be some alternatives. And what would those alternatives be? That's why we're still digging into this. That's why we're still delving into this. If you don't have internet, a laptop, just what I was speaking about, or even a quiet space to talk, telehealth still remains out of reach. And so the gap widens still. Let's talk about another barrier, workforce shortages. Finally, there is a workforce shortage. It truly is. In high income countries, there may be dozens, and I do mean dozens of mental health professionals for every 100,000, as I've shared a little earlier. But in low income nations, sometimes it's less than one. I gave that to you a little earlier, but I had to bring it on back home so you could have the breakdown and know exactly and feel the energy that I'm giving off as I speak about this. Think about that. One professional for an entire region, just one. The need far outweighs the support because that one individual certainly is not able to get to every single individual, not in an adequate amount of time. So there is the workforce shortage as well. At this time, I want to bring it home or connect the dots, if you will, so you can get some clarity behind the information that I'm certainly sharing. So here's a scenario, and I want you to picture this as I'm talking through this with you. Let's call her Maya. I'm just going to call her Maya. So Maya begins missing school because of anxiety that no one recognizes. Her grades have dropped. Her teachers grows frustrated as well because of understanding. Her parents are unsure how to help her to start to feel they start to feel overwhelmed themselves. And these are facts that actually happen. Before long, this one child's untreated ripples into her family's well-being. It filters over. Just like if you were looking at a pond and you see the ripples in the water, or an ocean, you see the ripples in the water. Imagine that, just to give you a visual there so you can get some feeling behind what I'm saying. The school performance and even her community's future, all of this impacts, it's everything going from one to the next, the next, the next. Now, multiply Maya's story by millions, and I do mean millions, and you begin to understand the true depths of this global crisis. Think about those ripples. And if one connects to the other, it spreads out. So here are the issues that are being faced by Maya. You see, these barriers of stigma, inequity, technology gaps, and workforce shortages are the invisible chains holding us back. But here's the hope. And I always like to give you hope. Every barrier can truly be broken. And the anxiety, it can be released or treated, if you will. I want to explore some strategies with you, some tools, some collective actions that are already helping communities break free. We're breaking those chains, breaking that silence, breaking these invisible chains, and that silence is the invisibility. We've looked at barriers, we've acknowledged the struggles as well. But here's the truth about it. Are you listening? Barriers are not permanent. They are not permanent. They're not etched there in concrete, so you cannot shape them, and so you're not able to move them. You see, chains can be broken. And right now, across the globe, there are strategies making change possible. And there truly, truly are. So, Dr. RC, what are those strategies? I'm so glad that you're thinking in the way that I'm about to guide you in. Policy advocacy. First, we must continue to push for policy advocacy. That is an absolute must. Mental wellness is just not an individual issue. It is not. It's a public health issue. It is. The United Nations Sustainable Development, they have a goal, and goal 3, good health and well-being, explicitly calls for mental health and well-being to be treated as a global priority. Did you all hear that? Explicitly says it should be treated as a global priority. Yet in many countries, less than 2% of the budget is allocated. It is only 2%. 2%, that is so small for mental health. That has got to change, or that must change. Social workers, educators, families, and even other people, individuals who are outside of this box, and especially our young people themselves, can use their voices to advocate for laws to change, for policies and fundings that make mental wellness accessible to all. As I get ready to go on a commercial break, I want to share this quote. I want to emphasize this quote with you. And it's from the World Health Organization. There can be no health without mental health. I've said that a little earlier. There can be no health without mental health. It's time for that commercial break. Hold on to that. I will be right back.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Oh, Eagle family. Yes, let's continue this conversation. If you're wondering, yes, I am Dr. RC, and you are tuned into Dare to Soar. I know that this information can be heavy at times, but it's information that's needed. And I had to come from the lens which I know, and the lens that I know best is social work. It's breaking barriers, and I'm doing to mental health through social work. I want to delve back in because that clock is ticking and the time is moving fast. So, right before the break, I shared, policy advocacy. Now I want to delve into community engagement, building local bridges. Second, and that's my second point, we must look at community engagement. It is important, it is key. We have to bring everybody into the fold by creating awareness. You see, healing just doesn't happen in isolation. It does not. It happens in places where people live, people learn, people work, and where they worship as well. There can be no mental health. There can be no health without mental health. And I have to keep saying that quote because I want you to really understand it. Another point that I want to make out with you is as I spoke about the community engagement, advocacy, the equity, all of those things. We must look at the community healing. Like I said, it doesn't happen in isolation. We have to keep it moving. When we do this together, we can address not only one child's mental wellness, but also their hunger, their safety, and their sense of belonging. That's what's called holistic healing. And that's the goal that we're coming from. When faith groups and nonprofits, schools get involved, grassroots organizations come together, they create networks. And those networks provide hope or give hope to individuals who may be struggling, who we're trying to get to them so they're no longer invisible. We want to let them know that they are seen. So just imagine all of us connecting the dots together with resources, how powerful this would be. I've seen firsthand when a school or a local nonprofit or a faith leader comes together to support a grieving student. Alone, each one could offer a piece of put it in a pie, if you will, if that makes sense better to you. Together, they've created safety nets that have helped children feel seen, supported, and they were able to heal as they needed to heal. Because why? They knew that they had someone that was going to come and reach out to them, or they could go to reach out to in a non judgmental space. And they didn't have fear of someone pushing them in a corner or pushing them to the side, if you will. There was someone that was tuned in and listening to what they had to say. When we look at education, education is key as well. It takes our teachers, our parents, and even our peers. They're needed. They need to be trained. And let me say it again. They need to be trained to recognize warning signs of distress. It is too often that what looks like misbehavior, and I've seen this firsthand, what looks like misbehavior is a child who is really crying out for help. Too often, what looks like laziness in a teen is really depression. And let me preface that because I don't want to send a missed message. I'm not, Dr. RC is not saying every single child who may be seen or the word laziness or lazy is used that they're suffering from depression. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that we have to pay attention to signs. But I want you to be able to pay attention to signs after you've been trained to take note of what those potential signs could be. Now, when we equip ourselves, our educators, and our families with knowledge to respond, with compassion instead of punishment, we give our children a chance to thrive. Education creates a ripple effect, and it does. What is that ripple effect, Dr. RC? I'm so glad that you asked. It's awareness leads to action, and action leads to healing. So that's what that all is, leads. One leads into the other. Now I want to look at our self-care practices. We talk about self-care all the time. It is key. It is important. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. When we cannot forget this. This is an important part of life, because while we fight for systematic change, each of us must also tend to ourselves, our own well-being. Simple actions or simple practices like mindfulness, journaling, physical activity, spiritual reflection, and learning on support systems, or leaning on support systems as well. Learning about them, leaning on them to give you the support that you need. It can make an incredible, and I do mean an incredible difference. These tools don't ease or erase systematic barriers, but they do help us to stay resilient while the work is being done, while the change is happening, while we're working to change them as well. I want to share something with you. You cannot pour for, guess what, guys? You can't pour it from an empty cup. You have to fill yours with purpose. That's directly from me. That is my motto, what I think about. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to fill yours with purpose. You definitely do. So allow me to give you a few tips as you go through this process. And I may have to cut it off because we may go into a commercial break, but I'm going to get as much out as I possibly can until I receive the signal. Talk openly. Let's be a movement to change together. So talk openly about mental health. Your words could normalize, and they can normalize the conversation from someone who's feeling alone. Share resources. That is a key element in your community, whether it's a hotline or a local counselor or a wellness group or someone you know needs it. Check in with people. Check in with your family, your friends, those that run across your mind. You may have had a quick thought about them. Just send them a quick message. Just say, hey, I'm checking in on you. With one person this week. And as I shared it, I want you to do that with at least one person this week. I want you to check in with one person this week. I want you to either send a text, make a call, or just ask a question. How are you feeling today? How are you really, really doing? And that can possibly potentially create some dialogue. These may feel like small actions, but I'm telling you, they're really not. They're multiplied across families, schools, workplaces, and nations. They create shifts that are needed to happen. When policies shift, when communities unite, when educators empower, and when individuals commit to care, chains are broken. And the truth about it is, we all hold a piece of that key. It is time for a commercial break. I will be back with a little bit more.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk. Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com.
Oh, thank you for returning, Eagle family. My time is going by so quickly. Boy, an hour goes by fast. But I'm in the process of getting ready to wrap all of this up for you today. I should say this. I'm in the process of wrapping up our topic for discussion: invisible chains, global impact, breaking barriers to mental wellness through social work. As I proceed to my close, I want to just share with you there are rewards, there is hope. As we come toward the closing, and I have to say that over again, today's conversation, I want to just pause, not just on the barriers. I want you to think about the beauty of this also, because when we connect the dots and provide nurturing environment, show compassion, and therein lies the beauty. Because while the work of mental wellness and social work, it is heavy, it truly is, it is also filled with hope. And I want to remind my dear colleagues across the globe about that as well. And it is that hope that fuels us and keeps us soaring. It fuels us and keeps us soaring. Social workers around the world walk a path of duality. We do. On one side, there is a weight, there is the exhaustion, there's heartbreak at times, there's even burnout that comes from carrying so many stories. And those stories are trauma, pain, inequity. But on the other side, there is joy, deep, abiding joy, and witnessing a transformation that happens. Every time a child who once refused to come to school walks across a graduation stage, we feel it. Every time a family who is homeless receives housing, stable housing, we feel it. Every time a community comes together to heal after tragedy, we feel it. The emotional journey, it's not easy, but it is truly worth it, because change, no matter how small, means life redirected and futures reclaimed. Every breakthrough, no matter how small, is a victory worth celebrating. That's one of my quotes. Every breakthrough. It truly is. Those words aren't just something I say, and they're not. They're something I live by, because whether the breakthrough is a student raising their hand for the first time in a classroom, how exciting is that? Or a nation passing legislation to increase access to care, each and every one matters. Each one is a sign that the chains are breaking, the stories are being upheld. We have to take those in. So as I leave you this morning, this powerful reflection in this journey, I want to leave you with this truth. Invisible chains only remain unbroken when or if we choose to be silent. But when we raise our voices, we share our stories, we dare to advocate, not only for ourselves, but for one another as well. And I want you to remember that. You're doing that. You're giving it life to do what needs to be done. Eagles, it's time for me to leave you for today. But as I leave you, I want you to know that you were born to soar. And when you soar, the world rises with you. Until next time, I want you to keep rising, keep advocating, and keep daring to soar. Thank you for your time today. You can listen to the playback. I am Dr. RC. This is Dare to Soar that you have been tuned into. And remember to share, like, and subscribe as we go through this process. And finally, never be afraid to elevate to new heights as you spread your wings and dare to soar. Take care and enjoy the rest of your week.
This has been Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. RC. Come take a ride and soar to your highest level possible each week on Dr. RC's Dare to Soar.